It is October 11th, 2021, and we're gearing up for another New York Rangers season. And we're back. This is, I guess, season 2 of this podcast, New York Rangers fan podcast. I'm your host, Jake Albee, a lifelong Ranger fan. Been going to games forever. Grew up, section 405, row 19, seat 3 and 4 with my dad, something like that. And of course, my co-host, Coach Connell McNeilis. He is the head coach of the New Jersey 87s of the EHL Premier League. And he is chock full of information that I am not, and I'm more of the kind of dumb fan perspective, and he backs up his research and prepares notes and does all the good fun stuff that keeps you guys happy. And, I'm just here to ask questions ultimately, because I'm just as curious as anybody else. So, Coach, how you doing? How you feeling about everything going forward so far?
Yeah, great. Good to be back. Good to kind of get back into this. We kind of started it last year and we weren't really sure where we were going, but we had some fun with it. We wanted to bring it back. And now that we're back in the hockey season, certainly going to try to bring it to you guys on a consistent basis. So can't believe the NHL season starts in 2 days. I feel like that flew by. Obviously, it was a little shorter, still with, dealing with COVID stuff in the previous season and how long that went. And going into July, I think by next year, we'll kind of be back on our normal hockey schedule. But couldn't be more excited. And busy, crazy off season for the Rangers, obviously, and there's going to be a lot to talk about here. So I'm ready to get back into it, though. I can't wait for Rangers hockey.
Yeah, and I think COVID truly has made me so excited for preseason games. I can't ever remember being this excited. I mean, you tell me if you had a time where you were watching this intently in preseason games and getting amped up over PK Subban in a preseason game.
Yeah, it's something that's exciting. I mean, obviously, I think there's just a lot of anticipation. Like, I think we're all expecting this is the year after our rebuild and, getting lucky with some draft picks and whatnot. This is the year to make the jump. I think we all kind of have that same feeling. And there's so much to like about this team, and I'm sure we'll find a way to get frustrated about them too. That's just how the hockey season works. But I think collectively as a fan base, this is as excited as I've seen the Rangers fan base preseason wise, probably since, maybe the 14-15 season after going to the Cup or something like that.
Yeah. It really does feel like it's time to be legit. And Gerard
yeah,
Gallant,
exactly.
of course, and everything going on with that stuff. But congratulations, by the way. I forgot to mention this before. You and I have both been named alternate captains of the New York Rangers.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Tremendous honor.
What do you think about that? And do you think the captaincy matters? Are you one of these guys that I feel like that's kind of an eye test thing where it's like the more eye test guys say, oh, the captain doesn't matter. Who cares? How do you feel truly as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wrote a piece on Blue Sea Blogs recently, kind of just talking about defined roles. And I think there's an important aspect to that, being a guy who's been around locker rooms for, 20 plus years now, just kind of knowing your defined role and all that good stuff. I think I go back and forth the captaincy. I think it's not as much of a clear-cut hierarchy as it was once upon a time. But I do think, it's important to have a leadership group here. And I don't mind. The 6 alternates is like kind of a little ridiculous, but I will say this: it's from a guy who's coached these teams usually, like, especially like the college level, maybe not as much as the junior level. But when I was in college level, we'd have our, captains who usually was a junior, senior guy. And then we kind of have a leadership group overall for the meetings. We like to have a sophomore captain, and then we would rotate having like freshmen come into the leadership meeting. So there would be 6 or 7 guys usually in those meetings. So I think that's kind of what you're seeing here. I thought when the Mika extension was signed that might have been a telltale sign that maybe he's going to get the captaincy as well. If I had a gut feeling right now, I think they're waiting maybe like another year for Adam Fox. I think he's probably the guy. They probably want to make sure they lock him down long-term first before they give that to him in case there's some kind of contract issues, which he can sign a new contract after January 1st. That's usually, it might be pushed like a couple days this year because we're starting a little bit later. But, in January. And I've heard some speculation too. The Canucks did this last year where they had Bo Horvat like announced on opening night, like he skated out. You wonder if there's any speculation there, especially with Fox not being in that group. I could see that happening, but I don't think it's the end of the world. But after all the talk this summer, I think I could see why it's a little bit disappointing when Kalan said it, Drury said it. seemed like there was going to be a captain. And then I think people just want to see it. It's kind of a cool thing. It's a tradition in hockey that goes back a very long time compared to other sports. So I'm kind of, I know it's kind of a wishy-washy answer. I still think they're going to name somebody here. I really do. And I really could see it being Fox at some point, even during this season, if not next season.
Imagine during the introductions, they just have all the 6 guys come out at the end, and then like you're just looking to each other, and everybody's like building anticipation. And he just comes out, Adam Fox.
I can see it. I can see it. It'd be good. It'd be good PR. You know what I mean? It'd be a good little marketing stunt. I don't hate it. So
if only the NHL was that fun, right?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Do you trust the NHL? Do you trust the Rangers, who notoriously like pretty conservative organization as far as going crazy? Only recently has their social media even got more exciting and engaging. So you wonder if they're really thinking that big picture. But at the same time, I could see it happening.
That'd be hilarious.
It really would. It really would. It really would. But I could see that maybe the hesitation if they don't know. If he got announced like on opening night, like at home on Thursday, and it was Fox, I could see them as soon as January 1 hits. They're like, yep, here's his 8-year extension also, by the way. Like that was already like agreed upon in October, but they can't legally sign it.
Right.
I could see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, imagine 7 letters. I mean, imagine they all warm at the same time. You can only dress a couple, right?
Yeah, you can only do 3. You can only dress 3 guys.
What's the point? 6? How's that going to work?
They're just going to rotate. Yeah, they're just going to rotate, I guess. I mean, I've been on teams where we had like, a captain and maybe 4 alternates or 3 alternates even, and the guys rotate home and away. It's more the leadership group things. Like, I think Ryan Strome could still be in the leadership group with probably not having an A. I think Goudreau's kind of the same way with those guys. When you think about the core of the Rangers leadership group, we talked about Trouba in the past, and I think Goudreau being a newer guy, maybe they wanted to kind of add that in there. But look, they're going to have more leadership group. I think they're trying to make it a statement. We talked about last year, just kind of a somewhat toxic locker room at times, kind of chaotic. There wasn't really sure who was going to be. I think by maybe having a bigger group and like officially talked about roles and naming it like they did, kind of just is a little PR-y as well, as far as, hey, look at our leaders. Like, look, this is what we got. We're going to be a team that's, has different voices all the time. We're going to keep things under control. We don't have any, locker room fights or whatever we're going to have this year.
Yeah, the Goudreau, giving him the A, that's that's like a bold move for sure. But yeah, I guess it gives him some of that instant confidence in himself.
Yeah,
perhaps.
sure.
But if you're going to give him one, you're not going to give any to Fox. Like, I feel like that's money. And if they don't name a captain, that was probably, if Kreider had any chance, if they don't name a captain, it's not going to be in 2 years. It's not going to be in 3 years. I feel like this really was the time to name Kreider captain, but I guess they don't have full confidence in him. I don't know. I really don't know. I think Kreider's a good choice. Mika or Kreider was the back and forth forever. And I always kind of personally found myself a little bit more on the Kreider side, only because he was he's been here longer. And I don't know, like that guy lives, breathes New York Rangers hockey.
Yeah.
So you could argue about the disappearing act stuff. Like, I get it. I get that people get frustrated with him. He's not going to put up 80 points. He's going to be this guy that is clearly a piece of a really good team. So then you go to the Mika argument. And I think, did you say, I forget what you said last season. Were you more of a leaning toward the Mika side or what?
If they were as far as naming for a captain, I probably would have said Mika. I really think now I think it's Adam Fox. Like, I think I will put my foot in the ground. I think they're kind of setting it up with, kind of similar in a little bit. When the Rangers brought in Brad Richards, he was an older guy, won a cup, obviously, Conn Smythe. He could have been, and they signed this big contract. He probably could have been, a guy who was a captain, so to speak, but they went with a younger Callahan, more established. I think they're setting it up with Fox. They're going to surround him with this veteran group, and the younger guy is going to be, the official captain. But even for all those years, we all kind of knew Lundqvist was the captain, right? So they don't have that necessarily defined right now. I think it's going to be Fox. I would have given it to Mika over Kreider. Now, especially since he's got the contract extension to go with it, we know he's going to be here. I think there was some hesitancy probably last year with little uncertainty, and then how slow Mika started too. Obviously, it was a result most likely of having COVID so close to the start of the season. But I would have lead Mika. I still would lead Mika compared to Kreider. I wouldn't have been shocked if it was Trouba, but to me, it's at some point going to be Adam Fox. I don't know if it's going to be on opening night. I don't know if it's going to be January or next season, but Adam Fox is going to be the guy to me.
It's a great bet. I mean, a D-man with the captaincy, you always got to love that. It's great.
No, as a former defenseman, absolutely. I'm biased towards that. So
yeah, totally. He's good. I don't know if he continues to be the best defenseman in the league, night in, night out. I mean, any podcast talking about the Rangers, any hockey podcast is going to talk about it. So, adding us to the fray doesn't make too much of a difference. But truly watching that guy on every single game is like incredible. It's just great.
It's a privilege.
It really is a privilege. We're watching it now, and everybody's saying like he's the next Leach. It's like, no, I don't know. He's better than Leach. Like he might be better than Leach.
Well, I have to take. That's my boy right there.
That's
my boy.
I don't know. Different era. Obviously, everything's different.
Sure.
I couldn't watch Leach play night in, night out up until like the later years.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'll get probably attacked for that, but that's all right.
That's okay. Well, we keep talking about the captaincy and Nika's extension. Let's kind of transition here into camp and kind of our expectations. We talked about the excitement we have for the season coming up, and guys who are going to make an impact here. We talked. The Buchnevich trade has been talked about over and over again. I'm not going to harp on it. Obviously, we're all Buch fans here. Probably would have liked to keep him, even if it's just for one more year, and just kind of go for it. But look, a guy like Sammy Bias has been good. Dryden Hunt's been a nice little addition in camp. Obviously, we know what Reeves is going to bring. It looks like he's going to be healthy, thankfully, ready to go. We know what Goudreau is going to bring. This is going to be probably a little bit more of a sandpapery bottom six, and I think you got to be excited about that. So taking all that into account, we're hoping for Steph Chicago and Laugh, and based off the preseason, they look pretty good. And my boy Filipino looked pretty good the other night as well. Where are you at right now? Are you expecting this to be a playoff team? Are they contending for a playoff spot? Or would you, if you, as I like to say, if you were a betting man, would you be putting your money on the Rangers making the playoffs?
I would. We're obviously biased through this like Rangers fan scope, but
sure, of course.
I get it's the preseason, but watching some of those plays the other day when Kakko spun around the net and did that just sweet little backhand pass to I forget who scored. It was just that little move behind the net when he was holding on his backhand. All I could think was that Ryan Spooner quote from last year when he was just like, Quinn never wanted guys to have the puck on their backhand ever. And anytime like anybody had the puck when they joined the rush, they would have to just sprint from line to line. And they were so worried about playing to that system instead of just kind of going out there and playing hockey, which I have no idea like what works and what doesn't for certain players, what doesn't, like who knows. But that's a veteran NHLer talking about what he thought, he saw from David Quinn. So it makes a whole lot of sense. They both look so good, man. Hedl, we talked about how Hedl had these bright flashes last year. He got hurt for a little bit, but they feel like adults. They were going out there.
That's a good word.
As kids, and they were for sure like good players, but it feels like now they both have a little more confidence in both their Kakko and Hedl. I mean, even Miller. We'll see. We'll see what that ends up being. I don't know. I would say they make the playoffs. I'm excited about it, and I think who could possibly take like the nosedive of nosedives? Like everything looks good. Everything certainly looks promising. So, I mean, pending a disaster, I guess, Tony D, Georgiev fight levels of how many ever months into the season we get this year without drama. I mean, I think baseline, that's why you see all the veterans that came in too. It's like, those guys, like this stupid shit's probably not going to happen amongst this group. I would imagine that's why they're probably brought in. So
exactly. And it's a
short answer, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they got to be competing for a spot. I mean, I think the Metro is going to be tough. And I think something to look for early in the year. And this is tough pressure to put on the team as far as, a new coach, some new systems, nothing too crazy, some new guys in there. Hopefully they're getting familiar with each other and doing their thing. But, they got to take advantage of the division earlier in the year. The Penguins are banged up to start the year. The Caps are a little banged up to start the year. I think the Flyers are, kind of trying to figure out what they're going. And obviously there's been a lot of controversy with them this offseason with their old friend Alain Vigneault there. But, there's opportunity. I think Carolina got worse. Columbus is going to be bad. I think at some point Washington's going to start falling off a cliff here. So Who are you taking over
Please,
is really the big
please,
thing here. Yeah, please. It's just like,
enough.
oh,
It's
yeah,
been like
exactly.
15 years.
Exactly. Look, I think if I'm looking at the Metropolitan, it hurts my soul a little bit to say this. Look, you can't pick against the Islanders as long as Barry Trotz is still coaching right now. I think they're probably, in my opinion, would be the team I'd put in first. From second to fifth or sixth, it's a crapshoot. I think it's wide open after that. I think the Islanders are the best team in the division. After that, it could be anybody. Does Carter Hart get his reform himself and figure out how to be an elite NHL goalie like it looked like he was going to be? We'll see. But that's, kind of an older group there in Philadelphia. You got to like what they did with Ryan Ellis. Obviously, Pittsburgh's hurt to start the year. I mean, Crosby started skating again, but they don't have Crosby. They don't have Malkin to start the year. Their goaltending is average at best with Chishinchari and all that. Who knows what's going to happen there? And look, like I said, I think Carolina got worse. And I think, Washington at some point here they are older and older by the day here, right? They are an old roster. And New Jersey's another team who I think definitely got better. They're banking on Mackenzie Blackwood as their starting goalies. He starting goalies. He could be able to play at all since he's one of the few guys not vaccinated right now.
Yeah.
It's wide open. I fully anticipate them to be pushing for a playoff spot. And if I had to bet right now, I think they make the playoffs. I think they're probably in that third spot of the Metro. I could see, Carolina maybe in the second spot, something like that. Pittsburgh, if they got healthy, could be in the second spot. But hell, it wouldn't surprise me if the Rangers are right in the mix of things. I don't want to say playoffs or bust, but it's pretty much is. I mean, at this point, they are committed to making the next step. They got the veteran coach. They got a little bit more, like I said, piss and vinegar to their edge of the lineup. I think the roles will help. Obviously, Buchnevich hurts, but look, if you're expecting Kakko and Lafreniere to kind of step up, and I think we all could see those guys getting 40, 50, maybe 60 points. If that's the case, they're a playoff team for sure. And that should be the expectation. I've heard it a million times. They got, by definition, the best defenseman in the NHL. They got one of the best young goalies in the NHL here. They got a perennial Hart Trophy contender when he's fully healthy in Artemi Panarin. They got a guy who scored 40 goals in Mika Zibanejad 2 years ago. Is he consistently a 40-goal scorer? Maybe not. But look, he's proven to be scoring 30 goals consistently year in and year out as that goes. They have $8 million in cap space. Obviously, the Eichel trade hasn't worked out. From what I've heard from some sources and whatnot, that it seemed like it was close and it just never kind of worked out. And I think the Rangers probably plan to have Eichel. I think that's why they have $8 million. And I don't want to say dead cap space because that's not what it is. But this is a team that spends every single year. They're not afraid to spend. I think it sets them up to have a huge splash, whether it's Eichel, whether it's, Tomas Hertl's another guy for the center spot there. And if guys take the step up, man, this is a team that could be, if they get hot at the right time, why not? Let's be scary. You got to push it. You only got Panarin and Mika in their primes for a couple more years, probably. You got to go now. This is it. There's no reason they should be all in. There's no reason not to be. They have still have, the third or fourth best prospect pool, according to Corey Promen and other guys. I have no problem with moving draft picks this year if they need to go all in. They've stacked up long enough. Let's go, baby. Time to make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on something you were talking about in there a little bit, just like the Caps and the Islanders, like the whole narrative obviously last season became like Tom Wilson broke the Rangers. It's like, yeah, but it wasn't about the Caps as much as it was the Islanders. The Islanders absolutely just swept the floor with us in important games, and they had physicality, and that, that's obviously not the answer to everything, but it's just, they knocked Trouba on his ass and he was wobbly getting up, and the season was over right there pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
That team looked scared after that. They played timid, and just super interesting. I think it's like the joke is haha Tom Wilson, but it's to me it's about the Islanders, and they're going to be the real test. And I think that's great. I think that's so exciting, man. Rangers, Islanders hockey, and they're both
hell yeah.
Rangers always play the Islanders well, no matter what, and vice versa. So I think it's going to be a fun season. I'm hoping the Caps miss the playoffs. I'm hoping the Flyers miss the playoffs.
Me too.
But we'll see. The Flyers are such a mystery, right? It's such a crapshoot if they're going to be
good.
Who
knows?
Just tailspin.
Flyers could win the division, or they could finish it last, and I'm not really sure which one it's going to be. Because they obviously have some talent, but that's an aging roster. They move out Voracek. It's an aging roster with Giroux, who I've always been a Giroux fan. I think he's a future Hall of Famer, but they have almost no cap space to be had. They got some contracts there that who knows how it's going to go there. You got to like Ryan Ellis for sure, but I mean, what if Carter Hart just never gets it together, and then you have Martin Jones as your other option? That could be a disaster in that.
Yeah, the Philly goalie situation is an enigma, and the fact that they just haven't fallen ass backwards into like a halfway decent starting goalie in the last bunch of years is like it's a mystery. Obviously we're big rivals here, but it's how are we on this side of the spectrum with like two of the greatest goalies of the last generation, and then the Flyers didn't run into one.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think Hart still has that talent to get there, but I'm a fan of his. I think from a positional standpoint, he's what you want in a goaltender. But look, something happened last year, and I'm not really sure what, but he, got the hex put on him being a Philly goalie, and who knows where it goes from there. So, like I said, the Flyers are, certainly a mystery. And I said, with Pittsburgh is another team that obviously is always going to be a pain in the ass, but they got so many injuries to start the year here. You got to take advantage of it. And that's a team that's getting older by the day too. Letang and Malkin's contracts are up at the end of this year. Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry is your goalie combination. I mean, that's who knows what it's going to be. And then, their blue line, it ain't great. I mean, no one's blowing me out of the water. It's an older team that, you got to wonder if the loss of, especially of Crosby and Malkin early in the year, are they going to have enough time to make up ground? If for example, that, their first 10, 15 games, they're 5, 6, 7, 8 points on the outside looking in. And we've seen it year in and year out. It's been proven over again. That Thanksgiving mark seemingly is really the telltale sign of who's going to make the playoffs or not. It's something like 86, 87% of the time, like the team's in playoff position by Thanksgiving. It's probably going to be pushed back a little bit this year because we're starting about a week or two later than we normally would. But yeah, those are the teams that make the playoffs. It's not easy to make up ground. And so the Metropolitan is a real crapshoot. I think it's wide open. Rangers got to bank points early. They gotta get off to a good start. If they get off to a slow start, which you've seen the last couple of years, I mean, last year that hurt them. Their slow start hurt them because by mid-February, they were one of the better teams in the NHL. They're scoring at a great pace. They kind of sorted things out, and they started off like shit, and they could never overcome that hurdle. So it's going to take a lot.
I think even last year, if they have a full season, that team had potential to make if they had like 15 more games. I mean,
yeah, you're probably right.
There was definitely a time where, it was make or break time, and then, they got broken, and ultimately they had to, even that Washington game, that crazy Washington game, they were definitely out of it by that point, with a couple weeks to go.
Yeah, 100%.
But they definitely, if they had enough games to go on another little tear, especially just playing East-only teams, I think they had potential. Which is amazing, which is pretty incredible. Like, they have some super talented players, and the type of hockey they were playing was interesting, and they were still managing to like play well in these points. I don't know, again, like, no expert on David Quinn's system or anything. It just seemed like kind of like a timid way of playing. I don't know. They crashed the net for sure, but it just seemed like everybody's staying in this position all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And it was. And I think Quinn, wherever he winds up here, whether he goes back to college, a lot of success there. Clearly just wasn't quite the answer at the NHL level. I don't have a ton of bad to say about Quinn. I've said this over and over again. He was always, to me, the coach to get to the next coach. So I think he did exactly that. Like, what are you going to do at this point? Kind of going back through the division here, like I said, just kind of touching base on a little bit on every team. We talked about the Penguins and the Flyers, the Islanders. We know what you're going to get out of them. Look, Islanders getting older. You keep thinking they're going to fall off, but hell, they with Barry Trotz, it seems like they're just all bought in there. I think the Devils are a better team this year, obviously with Dougie Hamilton there. They got Burnday at least to solidify with Blackwood a little bit. A guy like Thomas Tatar is a nice little player for them. And I think Jack Hughes and those guys are going to continue to make steps. The Devils will be a team that pushes, for a playoff spot. I'm not sure. I think I would probably have them a little bit below the Rangers as far as that goes. But, even like, for example, Jay Fresh on Twitter here, this is as recently as today, has a total of 7 points, with his roster projections and all that stuff, has a total of 7 points between the 7th and first place team in the Metro. I think that's what it's going to be at all year long. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be close. You're gonna have to bank your points when you're playing Columbus, and then every other team after that, we'll see if Washington falls off or any of those teams fall off. Any other team after that, I think, is thinks they could probably and probably rightly should contend for a playoff spot. It's not going to be easy. It never is. It never seemingly is. But it's going to be fun. Like you said, for me, the most fun season I ever had rooting, and it also depicted how old I was at the time, was 2011-12, when I was a senior in high school. And the Rangers and Devils were going back and forth all year, and obviously it ended poorly for the Rangers. But that was a fun year. Like, it was fun. Like, it's not that you're rooting for the Devils to be good, but like, it's fun when you're beating them and they're a better team. It's like, oh, if they're shit, and you're just banking points on them, that's not really a rivalry. A rivalry is when the teams are both good and they're constantly in a dogfight and they go into the playoffs and they play each other. That's when it's more fun. So I think there's going to be a lot of that this season for the Rangers. I'm sure it's going to be come down to the final week of the season, and it's going to keep us engaged at least all year long.
Yeah, I always feel bad for some of my Devils friends because I'm like, you guys are unwatchable. It's just, and then people talk about the Islanders, but it just has felt so like non-threatening for years. The Devils, and
Yeah.
I guess you could argue, the Rangers had a couple years there where they were insignificant, but they were never like, I don't know. Maybe there's a bias, but they were never like ass ugly. There was that period at the end of 2018, we shall not speak of those lineups.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to take Gas X for the rest of the day. But it just doesn't. I don't know. It just felt like hopeless, a little more hopeless, and the rebuild's going a little slower. Like I don't know. I don't know if that's just low budget money, low budget hockey. I honestly don't know like what causes like an organization to progress kind of slowly like that.
Yeah, I think the Rangers obviously got a little bit lucky. But even like that 17-18 year, the Devils make the playoffs. I mean, Taylor Hall plays like
That's
a man
right.
on a mission.
I forgot that.
But that was really it. I mean, it was Taylor Hall just pretty much putting that team on his back, which was good for the organization in a sense. But, then they kind of just fall back into oblivion. But I think the Devils are going to be better. I think they really will. Kind of just looking through all cap friendly here. I mean, look, will the Islanders take a step back? We keep saying they will. They're old as hell. They are an old freaking team. And then they add, Chara and Zach Parise to the mix.
I love it. I love little Zdeno Chara on the Isles, baby.
I mean, like, the youngest forward for the Isles up front there, like by like a pretty margin is Barzell and Beauvillier. Everyone else is I guess Wallstrom if he's playing there too, but that's there's still some up and down potential there. Their average age up front is 29.2, and their average age on the blue line is literally 30. Compare that to a team like the Rangers, whose average age up front is 26.2, and their average age on the blue line is 24 and a half. So actually, it's there's a big difference. I keep saying hockey's getting younger and younger. You look at a team. Well, look. Flyers, the Islanders, the Penguins, the Caps, those are older teams. You wonder, are they going to really take this step back? And if that's the case, Rangers got to bank them, got to bank those points, got to take advantage of it. Overall, I think, we're both in agreement that the Rangers should be competing for a playoff spot. And I think they, in order for this year to be a success, they at least have to make the playoffs.
That's an unbelievable perspective too, to think about. Imagine you're like, you're Lafreniere or you're Cock or whatever, you're 19 years old and you're just looking across the Islanders, like this established, like these dudes are 30 to 35, like just these wily veterans. You probably just shit your pants in the locker room, honestly, a little bit. I don't know how well you. Sorry, I don't know how well you blend in. Like, I guess it depends. You probably grow up fast anyway, but I always wonder.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
You kind of have to. Speaking of growing up, Alexei Lafreniere's birthday today, so he's 20 years old now, very old man.
Oh my God, 20 years old.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but I think it'll be a fun season there. Kind of just transitioning, unless you got any other takes here, to some of the fun stuff that we kind of got into last year with our random Rangers and overrated stuff. You got anything else you need to add as far as Ranger predictions or anything like that?
No, sir. Let's do it. Just
all right. Let's do it. All right, random Ranger of the week. If you guys don't know, we try to going through Elite Prospects, hockey references, going through some old Ranger teams, and going to just bring up some names that you probably haven't thought of in a very, very long time. Typically, we try to keep it to, under 100 games played for the Rangers, give or take. Obviously, a few more here and there. Maybe you have a cult legend. It's like bringing back our boy Greg McKegg this year, obviously, Rangers legends. But it's a good one here. I'll go first if you're cool with it. I got a guy. This is random. I mean, this guy. Oh, Greg the leg. So to put it in perspective, this guy right here, okay, 2003 Rangers draft pick, fourth round, played a total of 8 games for the New York Rangers. As recently as 18-19, was playing professionally in Germany. Had a total of 2 points in 8 games for the Rangers, a goal and assist. Defenseman, if you remember this name, this guy right here, Corey Potter. Potter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Corey. Very vaguely remember Corey Potter, guy, right-handed shot defenseman. Played 8 games for the Rangers between 08-09 and 9-10 in those 2 years. Bounced around in the minors for it just shows you, it goes to show. He was a very good AHL player and just never put it together in the NHL. Had some spurts with the Oilers and the Flames, the Predators, Penguins organizations. But last 3 years of his career was in Germany and is now retired. So, yeah, bet you haven't thought of Corey Potter in a long time, folks. There you go. Now you
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty surprising. He was playing until last year professionally. Like, good for him.
It's crazy to think that, right? Like, that guy's still playing up until, whatever, a year and a half ago. He's, was an 03 Rangers draft pick. He's 37
where in the draft
years
was
old.
that guy?
2003, round 4, 122nd overall. The
Okay.
New York Rangers took Corey Potter. So pretty crazy after the 03 draft, a famously stacked one, but they got Corey Potter, who played a total of they took this is hilarious. He played 130 total games. He was taking one pick after Paul Bissonnette. So there you go.
Wow.
Put that on your mantle. Put that on your mantle right there. So Corey Potter, really random. Only 8 games ever for the Rangers. Was in the organization for a long time, but only 8 games for the Rangers.
I love it. That's a good one. All right, I'm going with a goalie today.
Nice.
I
almost did goalie. Almost did goalie.
Almost did a goalie. Okay, and I wonder if we're thinking of the same one. Man, yeah, this is going to be just like not even fair, to be honest, because let's see. All right, I'm trying to. Okay, let's pull up his like stats here.
Yeah, I love hearing the stat lines.
The stat lines, yeah. So total games with the Rangers, I don't even know if he started. Okay, well, 3 total games.
No, oh wow, this is obscure. Okay, this is
from 2015 through 2017.
Okay,
and that is a career record of 1-1 and a no decision. This is a Nashville Predators superstar. This is a New York Rangers superstar. Number 45 on the ice, number 45 in our hearts. Magnus Hellberg.
Magnus Hellberg, yeah. Jeez, that was a guy like I remember they like traded for him like before one season just to have a little like I don't know, like a little support, I guess, on in net just in case. But Magnus Hellberg, man,
there was a game.
Hell.
There was a game against the Dallas Stars. Me and my buddy went to where it was that 7-6 game.
Oh my God, I remember that. The Rangers almost came all the way back.
And they almost came back. They were down 6-0 or 6-1 early, and we were just hammered fucking around. And it was like the greatest almost comeback. It was a funny night at the Garden, man. And especially because we were chanting Hellberg. It was great, dude. Like, cause he made like Hank had a bad night, and then he made like one breakaway save, and it was just everyone. It was great, dude.
Yeah.
Great moment.
Still playing in the KHL.
Oh yeah, let's see.
He's only 30 years. He's only 30 years old, so I mean he's still relatively young. Over the last, I guess after that year, after 16-17, he just went over to the KHL and has been kind of bouncing around there. Looks like he's played a little bit for Sweden and some World Championship stuff, but yeah, he's still going. Had a good year last year. In the KHL. 12 games, 2.44 GAA, 918 save percentage. So. Not a bad look. He's still probably going to carve out a pretty good career in Europe, so I can't blame him.
Yeah, good for him. 6'6".
3 games. 6'6". Yeah, he was a big boy.
I know. 3 games. It's like not even fair.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. That's a good one. I was going to go I was looking at remember Chad Johnson was a Ranger backup for 5 games. I was going to go something crazy. I'll save some of those for another year when they were just random Ranger backups for 3 games because they just knew they were never going to play behind Lundqvist. So that's pretty good. Magnus Hellberg and Corey Potter. Shout out to Rangers. Fucking a combined total of 11 games played between the two of them for the New York Rangers. That is amazing. That's actually amazing. That's probably as low of a total as we're ever going to find here.
That's how we should keep track is combined games between the two we come up with and be like, oh,
that's pretty good.
Here's a new record.
Yeah, exactly. So we got right now it looks like 11 is the standard for us. That's pretty great. That's amazing. Jumping over here, obviously stealing this one from Puck Soup a little bit, but everybody kind of plays a little overrated, underrated. We'll keep it hockey themed, but as we get more engaged here with everybody during the year, Jake did a good job last year, kind of tweeting some out. We got some good suggestions. We got a little bit more fan engagement. We'll start to dive into that. It doesn't have to be hockey related as we got spooky season behind us here coming around, maybe some Halloween themes and all that stuff. But we just went with a simple one. Jersey numbers. I think for a lot of people that matters a lot. I always wanted the jersey number I wanted. And when you get a kind of random jersey from a new team or something, always love it. So Jersey numbers, super simple. And like I said, we'll have everybody chime in during the weeks as we kind of move along here. Overrated, underrated, favorite, least favorite, overrated to start. I'm gonna start right here. I honestly think any single digit largely doesn't look great on a jersey. But it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me. I'm gonna say this for goalies, the number one. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. It's just weird to me. I could have done like number 3 or 5 or 7 there, but any of the single digits outside of like 9 and 2, I don't really care for. So number 1 as a goalie, I don't like it. I like when goalies wear random numbers. Like when you see like a 63 on a goalie jersey or something. I think it's hilarious. I'm like, I want to see as random as possible with jersey. Shout out to my brother who used to wear 61 as a goalie. Which I thought was hilarious. Like it was just kind of funny. I don't like the number 1. Number 1 just looks so bland on a jersey. I don't like it. Overrated.
Yeah, I kind of am in agreement with you. I don't love single digits, but for some reason I kind of like 6, just straight 6. I don't know, like on a defenseman or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you got for overrated jersey?
Let's see. Overrated. I'm gonna say you got me with the single digits. So I'm gonna try to do something different because I definitely agree. I would have chosen 3. I totally would have chosen 3.
Go with it. Go with overrated single digits. Go with
All right, I'm going 3. I'm going to say 3 is overrated. Okay, I'll go with this. I don't like number 12. I'm not a big 12 guy.
Oh, that's a bad number too. I don't like 12 either. That's a good one. That's a good pick.
And it's funny. I like 15, and I like. I feel like
I like any of the teens. Yeah. Any of the teens I like. I'm with you. 12 just doesn't look good. I don't like it.
Yeah. So I'll go with 12. 12's overrated. It's a low number. People think it matters, but I guess it's the 1-2 thing.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I'm with you. I don't like it either. Good pick. Underrated jersey number. A little bit different, obviously not quite to our favorites here. But like I said, I kind of like the obscure stuff. I love the Russian hockey players. I think 89 is an underrated jersey number. I think of Alex Mogilny back in the day and guys like that. It's always kind of a sexy number. Usually I'm thinking like skilled forward, something like that. 89, you don't see it a lot. You don't see a lot of the 80s overall. I think that's a good one. You can take any of those numbers, and I guess traditionally thing like back in the day it was just like kind of based on positions like 1 through 20, so to speak. But now you see a little bit more flair and a little bit more personality and the reasons behind it. Any of the numbers in the 80, but I'd say 89 is an underrated one. I think of Alex Mogilny always. He was a great player back in the day.
Yeah, that is a cool one. I like that. I also like a good 91. Is it cool?
Yeah, 91's a good number too. I wore 91 for a while there actually, so I have a special place in my heart for 91. So,
I like that. I like that we got a 91 back on the team.
Hell yeah!
Or if it'll stick, I hope it does.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like he's going to go with that. You go with 91 as your underrated?
I guess I'll go. 91's underrated. I like 71's cool.
71's cool too.
Yeah, I'll go with 91. Why not?
That's awesome. 91 underrated, 89. 2 numbers I think of like high skill guys and stuff like that. I know Sammy Bias might be not that, but 91 obviously nowadays famous with Stamkos, and back in the day for me it was always Sergei Fedorov. I think it's a great number choice. All right, so underrated there. We have 89 and 91, 2 kind of higher ones there. Least favorite. We'll go with least favorite here. We'll end it with favorite just to have a little bit more positive energy here. Least favorite jersey number. You can kind of go with a lot. Really for me is anything like, I don't think the 50s look very good. And I'm going to say like least favorite would just be like the number 50, just 50. Okay. I think it looks stupid. I don't know why. It's like just smack dab in the middle. I just don't really care for it. It just doesn't work for me. 1 could have been there. I also think like 11, I know Mark Messier, but I don't think 11 looks good on a jersey. The 2 ones, I don't know what it is about it. I don't care for it. I'm going to say 50. I know not a lot of guys wear it. Elias Anderson had it for a little bit. I know Corey Crawford has it. Had it until he retired. Just bland, doesn't look good. I don't like the number 50.
Yeah, no, that's a good choice. I'm gonna go with. I got 2. It's really 59. It's terrible.
59. Most of the 50s don't look good. 59 is another garbage one. I don't like 59 at all.
I think I like 55 on Lindgren. I kind of like that a little bit.
55 is fine.
Double nickels.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
59 sucks. 63 also sucks.
63. I couldn't even think of like
Brad Marchand.
Brian Marchand and Anthony Duclair wore 63 when he was up at the Rangers briefly there. So
That's right.
there you go. There you
and 72, like Heedle. I wish Heedle wore 71, or even like 27, something the other way around.
Yeah, just flipped it.
I don't love that 72. If 71 on Heedle, that would be sick, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. It's not a great look, but I'm glad we're in agreement on the 50s there. Yeah, 59, 50. This, I don't know. They don't look good. They don't look good on the jersey. Favorite jersey number. This is a great job we picked this because I'm wearing it. Number 24 was my jersey. When I was young, when I was coming up, I loved Brian Leach, so I started playing hockey. And when I made the first travel team I played for, a little history of my jersey history, I either wanted to be number 2, actually number 11 because I'm SCA, even though I don't like it, I'm glad I wasn't. And I put number 19, as you had to put a couple different jersey options just in case. And I like 19. Joe Sakic was really good at the time. Steve Yzerman, like some just good 19s and stuff like that. All 3 jerseys were taken as I was like the new guy to make the team or whatever. So they actually flipped it, and I wore 91. So my travel hockey career, I always wore 91. When I went to high school, by that point, Ryan Callahan had kind of established himself. I kind of associated myself with him trying to play that way, even though I was a defenseman in 24. So all through high school, all through college, and even now my men's league team, 24 is my number. Honorable mention to 68 because I love Jaromir Jagr. But 24 would be my favorite jersey number.
So it's funny. Like I think we finally have the same answer on something.
Really?
That just coincidentally, 24 was my number playing up until a certain age, and then somebody else wanted it. So I think I switched to 97. Just
97 is sweet too.
Classic, year I was born. So it's nothing original. A ton of kids are wearing 97 now because they're probably my age doing it. But those are my 2 numbers. But 24, I'm gonna go with 24. Nice and clean. I don't know. It's
clean. It looks good. It looks good on a jersey. Any sport, I like 24. Yep. I wore. So I wound up, wearing it in baseball. I think it looks good there. I think it looks good in basketball. Whatever. It doesn't matter the sport. 24 just looks clean. We
had a year. Me and my buddies, like we were playing travel baseball. We had this year where we purposely picked just ridiculous numbers, like ridiculous ball numbers. We did I wore 97 for baseball, and then like 72, 63, like some kid did 69, like of course.
I have to.
It was just this band of goons that were wearing stupid numbers, and we were a 500 team. But it was just funny because like we play, super try hard, like really. I don't know. It's just like athlete kids are trying to be serious athletes, and it's just us.
And you guys are just you're just ruining it for everybody else.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. I love that. I think it's great. It's interesting now. Like I coach in hockey, and then I ump some baseball in the summer. I'm always curious why kids pick jersey numbers. Like umping baseball in New Jersey, I see a lot of 99s now. You see a lot of 48s. So it's interesting how like those dynamics, when we were growing up, I remember everybody wanted to be number 2 because of Derek Jeter, or when I was younger, 31 with Piazza, into number 5 with Wright and all those guys, A-Rod. And so it's funny how that kind of morphs and like who you kind of attach yourself to. And I think number is part of your identity. I know it doesn't mean that much at the end of the world, but I don't know. It kind of makes you feel good when you have your number. This is what I represent, kind of thing, and it's a way you kind of go by. So
it's interesting.
Good picks.
Super random mention, like that era, right? You're talking about everybody wearing 2. Even the Red Sox at that time, like everybody was wearing 24, 34.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, underrated. David Ortiz, legend of baseball, wearing number 34. Very interesting.
Yeah. Not an overly popular number. I mean, outside of him and like Kirby Puckett, I'm not sure I can name that many 34s.
Yeah, so it's Syndergaard, I guess.
Yeah.
We're talking legends. I guess. Not too many.
Not too many here. Well, look, great time coming back, getting back into this. This feels good. I'm excited for Rangers hockey Wednesday night on TNT.
Yes.
TNT and ESPN. Go down. I gotta buy my ESPN bundle package. I'm going to do that tomorrow, just to get that. But excited to see something not on NBC. I think we all agreed it got pretty stale towards the end there.
Oh, big time. And even just seeing advertising for hockey during football games and during whatever.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I was watching, basketball, whatever it might be, they're doing advertising. It's going to be great. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and then they should totally try to take advantage of this time. Everybody saw, like, when hockey came back, the playoffs came back, how, unbelievably hype it was in Sunrise, Florida, and all these big markets that they think, typically aren't hockey cities. So they have a chance to make hockey, like, the new thing. They don't understand that, like, if they do it the right way, like kids, so many kids, at least in my area here, like are trying to play hockey. There's so many it's such a community in itself, and it always has been. But it seems to be like increasingly popular as far as time goes on. So
It's going to at least expand the market. And for once, like it's not, they're going to be on multiple different networks. Like I said, they got the NBC back, they got Turner Sports back with TNT. I think it's going to help the league grow. And that's all you want. You want more money in there and helping more new hockey fans kind of jump into it. And hopefully, we start rivaling some of these other leagues. I think for a while, the NHL has been the clear cut number 4.
I will see you next week. We'll do this again, and let's go Rangers. We'll see what happens in the first game a couple days from now.
Exactly. We have a lot to talk about next week. We'll see you guys soon.
Connell McNeilis. I'm Jake Albee. See you next time. Why not?